Hello everyone! Welcome to my channel Start English Now. In this video, I'm gonna interview two Australians who are working for startups in New York City. I just wanted to hear from them about what their experience has been like so far in working at startups in New York City, as well as just living in New York City in general. So, if you're interested in coming to New York City or working in New York City as a foreigner, you might wanna watch this video because we're gonna share a lot of our tips to successfully live in New York City as a foreigner. Alright, the conversation was a little bit long, so I edited this video into two parts. In part 1, we will mainly talk about the culture shock that we have experienced so far. In part 2, we're gonna share our cultural tips for whoever who wants to come to New York City and work here, as well as our journeys to work in New York City. This is part number 1. Shall we get started? Hello guys!
Hello!
Hey. Thanks so much for taking the time to talk to us, talk to me and talk to our viewers today.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah,
Pleasure to be here.
Thanks. So the reason why I wanted to invite you guys today is because most of my viewers are South Koreans who want to learn English for many different reasons. For example, studying abroad and working abroad, or just like for self-development reasons. And I thought that a lot of them might be interested in hearing about your startup life in New York City. So tell me about yourself, please. What's your name and what do you do?
Hi, I'm Michelle and I'm the co-founder of a video compression startup called Vectorly. I'm Penny, I'm brand new to New York and I'm a business developer for a startup company called Koku Social.
Okay, so you guys are both working at a startup company. And what made you to come to New York City? Because there are other options like San Francisco, I don't know, like even in your country, Australia, might have some startup scenes. Why did you decide to come to New York?
I think the startup scene in New York is so much more larger than anything we have in Australia or even in Southeast Asia. It's really, really unbeatable, and I think it's really dynamic and it attracts people from all over the world to come work here. So I think it's unparalleled in terms of opportunity. I think the only other city which could compare, in my opinion, is Silicon Valley. But I think that's got different pros and cons about it as well. It's not as dynamic in terms of art and culture and e-commerce as here.
Ah, cool. What about you?
So the reason I came to New York was actually for love. So I always knew that I wanted to live and work overseas. And in Melbourne, I tried lots of different careers. I actually was a lawyer for many years, and then I realized that it wasn't quite what I was after. So I wanted something a lot more dynamic. I wanted to work with people. I knew that. And I love food. So I wanted to work in food. I wanted to work in events. I wanted to work with venues. I wanted to meet people every day and eat every day. And so I actually worked for Zomato, which is a food platform. It's similar to Yelp in America. And then from Zomato, I actually met my current boyfriend, and he got offered a job in New York. So I actually always thought it was London for me, and I think London as well is another city which is a melting pot of people who are after some adventure and opportunity, something a bit different. So I thought my heart always belonged in London, but no, apparently not. It was New York. So that's why I moved here, and I thought I needed to make a life for myself here as well.
So cool. So how long have you been in New York so far?
I've been in New York for 1 year.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
We gotta celebrate it.
Yeah. Insert champagne glass.
Yeah. What about you?
I've only been here for 2 months, so this is very fresh for me. Very, very fresh.
So okay, for you guys, it's been a year and 2 months for you guys in New York. What is the biggest difference that you are experiencing from the culture in Australia when it comes to work or life, whatever? Like, what is the biggest kind of cultural shock for you so far?
Oh, that's really interesting. I think the biggest culture shock for me is that I think in Australia, people place a very large emphasis on work-life balance and that we work to live and we don't live to work. Whereas I think in New York, people really live to work. Like their career is their passion and their life, and it's a lot of their personal identity, which is very different to what I'm used to. I'm used to very strong boundaries between work and play. Yeah.
What about you? Do you also agree with
I agree. I very much agree. I think that New York is very renowned for it's very busy. It's happening all the time. Everyone is wanting to succeed. They're here to make their dreams come true. And in doing that, they kind of have this attitude of head down, blinders on, and just kind of work. New York, to be honest, New York is a whirlwind. I am still overwhelmed sometimes being here. I think that the people are very different. So, as I said, it's a very busy city. It's always on. People are always walking. The subway is always busy. Everyone is... This sounds a little bit bad. It's okay. In a sense, it's almost a little bit of a selfish city because...
It is a very selfish city.
People are very much after looking for themselves. Whereas in Australia, I think everyone is very conscious of people around them and they're wanting to help each other out. Whereas in New York, it's very much... It's about you, which is also great because it's a chance for you to make an opportunity for yourself and thrive off of this environment, which is really busy and lively and everything's always happening all the time. So I think that was quite overwhelming for me.
I think it's really interesting for me because me coming from South Korea always thought that like English speaking countries would share the same kind of culture, but through Michelle, I learned that it's not the case. That was really kind of interesting. And do you guys find it personally quite hard to kind of get used to the like work kind of culture? Or like, are you guys fine with that now?
Yeah, I think this is the 6th country that I've lived in, so I am really...
She's so global, by the way. Which countries have you lived in?
I lived in the Netherlands, Malaysia, Singapore, Bali, and Australia, and now here. So
incredible.
Yeah, I've definitely had my fair share of culture shock. So I thought New York would be very easy to come in and settle into, but it wasn't. This is actually the most difficult difficult city I've ever moved to, and this is the biggest culture shock I've ever had. I was not expecting it. Even though Americans speak English as the same as Australians, there's a lot of miscommunication, cultural difference, misunderstanding. Yeah, enormously. Even the way that we would make friends, connect and bond with each other, the things that we talk about at dinner and the things that we think are appropriate to talk about and aren't completely inappropriate to talk about. We have very different ideas about that. So it really took me 1 year to come in and learn all of that. Yeah.
Wait, can you guys give me some examples of that?
Well, for example, if I am having a bad day and I have my period and I'm just feeling really sad, I can say, hey Penny, I'm having a really bad day today. I've got my period and I feel awful. And Penny will say, no worries.
In Australia, you'll be okay,
You'll
mate.
be
Like,
okay.
we'll look after you.
It's fine, and she'll say, we'll look after you. But like, that is something I would probably never say in New York. I think I would never open a conversation with an emotion that isn't very energetic or isn't very positive, because it's a city where you must always be seen to project energy and positivity and success.
That's so interesting because I didn't know how to articulate this kind of culture shock when I first came here, and I always thought that it was because of the language barrier. And then I think as South Korean or whoever who's studying English, I think they will always kind of assume that everything is because of the language barrier, which is not true.
It's not true.
It is so interesting to me. And then you've been here only for 2 months and you have felt that already.
I've also experienced that, So I think a lot of the times it is our accent which baffles people. And I think every day, every day, if not every second day, I'll be stopped and asked, where is that accent from? Or like, why are you talking like that? And for me, I now laugh at it. But originally I thought, you don't understand me, or do I sound very strange? But I think because a lot of people associate Australia with a bit rough, like how you going, like Crocodile Dundee kind of thing. But because we're a bit more rounded, they all automatically assume, you're from London, you're from Britain. I'm like, no, actually, I'm Australian. And they're like, so they're very open to new culture. But I think one of the things, building on what Michelle said, in Australia, we're very much used to everyone being very friendly, very open, not judgmental. Whereas here, it's almost like Americans are very friendly. They are very friendly and very accommodating. But they also have this sense of, not conservatism, but it's almost like this, so for instance, it's on the defense. So it's kind of like they're waiting to hear what you have to say. They'll read and observe a situation, and then they'll respond appropriately. So I feel like sometimes if I'm trying to say a joke, people may not respond with a joke, and then I have to kind of articulate, oh, I'm joking, and they'll be like, oh, ha ha ha. Whereas, I don't know, I just feel like people are kind of like, they're on the back
That
foot,
is
just
so
waiting
American.
for you.
Yeah. I think in America, what I learned so far is that you have to be really, you have to make sure that you're joking. Otherwise, because of different cultures,
Yes.
like there are so many different cultures in America, they wouldn't like catch it immediately. So you have to be really exaggerated when you're joking. Otherwise, they wouldn't get it.
Yeah. So I think that you just need to be open to the experience and aware of some cultural differences, but just be yourself in essence. I think that both Michelle and I, whenever you meet us, we are who we are and we'll always be ourselves. And I think that that's gotten us, brought us to success.